there's a moral responsibility, because that person in particular, his life is still very much evolving. His situation is very precarious, and there's a responsibility to not do him an injustice, which a lot of his followers and him said that I did, but I was trying very hard not to. And my correspondence with him was to try and eke from him what I could bring to, you know, work the part into something more empathetic. I wanted to meet him, not to study him and then turn him into a two-dimensional arsehole. I wanted to make him somebody who's complex and human and inspirational and extraordinary and unique, and who's done something which is profoundly important for democracy. And I believe he has, and hopefully some of that is reflected in the film. And I think people who are slightly more, you know, is partisan the right word? I mean, as in impartial is what I'm trying to say. Did elect to say that it was that, and if anything, it was slightly more biased towards his point of view. I don't think it was. I think it was fairly balanced. But I understand what I understood and understand what his beef was with it. Quite rightfully, you know, it was based on two poisonous accounts to his idea of what that story was for his experience, and to him, it was something that was, yeah, absolutely antithetical to everything he tried to achieve, and you know, he was dancing on the grave of the box office flop that it became. But I'm still really proud of it as a film, and I'm really proud of my work in it, and I'd stand by it. And if I was offered the part again tomorrow, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I mean, to try and do justice to a man like that. I think he's the only Australian I've met, or I haven't met, but had conversation with or heard opinions of, that doesn't think the accent's good, or that I'm not like him. Every other Australian says I got it. But you know, but seriously, there's a real care of duty, and when it's slightly less, I mean, that was very complex because there was a morality that was very current, and it was so politicized. Every action of being involved with it was a political statement, as much as you know, he thought I was sort of working under the auspices of DreamWorks / the State Department. You know, as a hired gun, I really contested that in quite a full email to him. But you know, I feel strongly as an actor that you should be allowed to try and dance with these very complex subject matters. And it's tricky because most of the real people I've played are pretty extraordinary characters, whether it's Van Gogh, whether it's Stephen Hawking, whether it's Julian,
Turing now.
Alan Turing recently. And you know, I can, you know, all we do is the most light, vague interpretation or impression of these people and their true depths and brilliance. And you know, the cinematic art form in itself is something that condenses years worth of experience and moments that stretch out into boring infinity, into a eureka moment or a you know, a moment of high drama. Everything about it is riddled with complexity, because especially when it's a real life, you think, well, God damn it, I know from my research and I know from talking to this person or from my reading that it didn't happen like this. And it raises a big question. It makes you go, well, why the hell are we doing anything about real people? But yet, we need some access, I think, some narrative access to understanding these extraordinary people in these extraordinary times. So I always look at it, and I know this is a massive get out, but I do always look at it as fictionalized truth. And I think most canny audiences know that. If they're going to go to something which has as rich and complex a subject matter as well, yeah, the mathematics of Turing and code breaking, or you know, astrophysics and everything that Stephen's amazing at, and Julian and computer hacking, programming / WikiLeaks and everything that he did, you expect people to come to it with a certain degree of cynicism about, well, this is a film of this, and if I really want to find out about it, it's a conversation starter. It's not a fixed point to judge everyone by. So there's that engagement, and then there is obviously the thing that these people do still exist, and often, not all of them, but obviously, but yeah, not Van Gogh, but you know, there is an audience that already understands these people through a medium, whether it's biographies or articles or documentary. So how do you bring about something that is both new and invigorating and different, but at the same time has an echo of something that has to be a reflection of these people? So that balance between interpretation and impersonation is kind of vital. And yeah, having a really good hair and makeup team, that's always helpful. A good script is also helpful. Good director is ultimately the most helpful thing you could ever have. And I've been very blessed on that front.